January always feels like a bit of a reset, doesn't it? The holidays are over, the decorations are packed away, and we start looking at the months ahead, sometimes with excitement, sometimes with a little worry, and if you're on Medicare. January is a very important month, whether you realize it or not. I was talking to my neighbor Joyce the other day. She's 71, sharp as ever, and she mentioned getting her first prescription of the year. Same medication she'd been taking for 3 years, but when she picked it up, the copay was 3 times higher than last month. She thought maybe the pharmacy made a mistake, but no. Her Medicare drug plan had quietly changed tiers on that medication, just like that. Her yearly budget was already off track, and it wasn't even February yet. And that's the thing, Medicare doesn't tap you on the shoulder and say, "Hey, we changed a few things." It's up to us to double check, to ask the questions, to make the calls. But here's the good news. A few small steps taken in January can save you hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars over the course of the year. It's not about being perfect, it's about being proactive. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through 5 simple things you can do right now this month that will help you avoid surprise bills, wasted money, and unnecessary stress. Later on, these are real actions, not complicated financial tricks. We're talking about reviewing your Medicare plan, checking your prescriptions, organizing your records, and using the benefits you're already entitled to. And don't worry, I'll guide you through each one like a friend sitting across the table from you. Whether you've been on Medicare for years or you're just getting started, this is the perfect time to hit pause, take a breath, and make sure your plan is actually working for you, not against you. And if this kind of honest, helpful advice makes life a little easier for you, I'd be so grateful if you give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe to Vibrant Elders and share your own Medicare tip or experience in the comments. You never know who else you might help, all right? Let's dive in, starting with something most folks think they've already done, but often miss: a quick review of what's actually changed in your Medicare plan this year. Number 1, review your annual notice of change. Let's start with something that's easy to overlook, but can quietly cost you a lot if you ignore it: the annual notice of change, or what Medicare calls the ANOC. Every fall, your Medicare Advantage or Part D drug plan sends you this letter. It tells you what's changing in your coverage for the new year, your premiums, your copays, your list of covered medications, even which doctors and pharmacies are still considered in network. Now, I know what you're thinking. I've had this plan for years. Nothing ever changes. But that's the tricky part. Even small changes can have big ripple effects. One year, your plan might add a new deductible. The next, it might drop your local pharmacy or move one of your medications to a more expensive tier. And if you didn't catch that change when the ANOC arrived in the mail last fall, January is your safety net to review it again before any costly surprises hit. I remember Frank, a retired veteran in our community group, who was caught off guard when he tried to book an appointment with his regular doctor in mid-January. Turns out that doctor was no longer in his plan's network. His copay tripled and he had to scramble to find a new provider. All because he'd tossed the ANOC envelope thinking it was just more Medicare paperwork. So here's what I suggest. If you didn't review your NOC back in October, grab it now if you still have it, or call your plan and ask them to go over. The change is with you, it's your right. And if something doesn't feel right or seems more expensive, you might still be able to switch plans during the Medicare Advantage open enrollment period, which runs from January 1st to March 31st. Also, even if you didn't make changes this year, that doesn't mean your plan didn't. It's worth checking. Even if it's just to confirm that everything stayed the same, think of it like checking the oil in your car. It only takes a minute, but it can save you a lot of grief down the road, and that's what January is for: tuning up your Medicare coverage so it runs smoothly all year long. Number 2, check your prescription drug list formulary. Let's talk about something that hits close to home for many of us: prescriptions. They're part of daily life for millions of seniors, and they're not cheap. That's why it's so important to take a few minutes in January to review your plan's formulary. Now, that's just a fancy word for the list of drugs your Medicare Part D or Advantage plan covers, and more importantly, how they're covered. You see, every January, drug plans are allowed to make changes. They can move your medication to a different tier, which affects how much you pay. They might drop a drug entirely or require new approvals like prior authorization. And unless you're checking, those changes can hit you right at the pharmacy. Counter without warning, just ask Martha, a sweet woman I know from church. She's been on the same cholesterol medication for 5 years. Last January, she went to pick up her refill, and the price had jumped from $12 to $80. No one had told her when she called her plan. They said the drug had moved up a tier, and they suggested a different brand. She was frustrated, but it was an avoidable surprise. The easiest way to stay ahead of this is to pull out your list of regular prescriptions and either use the Medicare plan. Find her online or call your plan directly. Ask, is this drug still covered? Has the tier changed? Is prior authorization needed this year? Most plans also send out an updated formulary with your annual notice of change. But again, it's easy to miss if you're not looking for it. And if you find your drug has become more expensive or isn't covered anymore, you're not stuck. Your doctor might be able to prescribe a similar medication in a lower tier, or you might qualify for what's called a tier exception, which is a fancy way of saying you can ask for a better rate if no alternative works for you. So before you pick up that next refill, take a few minutes to make sure your medications haven't silently crept up in cost, because those little surprises, they tend to snowball, and catching them early in January can save you hundreds without changing a single thing about your care. Number 3. Track your deductible and out-of-pocket maximum of those things that sounds more complicated than it really is. Your Medicare deductibles and out-of-pocket limits. I like to think of them like a cup you have to fill before Medicare starts pitching in, and every January, that cup gets emptied and starts over again. Whether you're on original Medicare with a Part D drug plan or you have a Medicare Advantage plan, you've probably got a deductible. For most folks on Part B in 2024, that deductible is around $240. That means you pay the first $240 of your doctor visits, lab tests, or other outpatient services before Medicare starts covering their share. Same thing goes for prescriptions. Your Part D plan has a separate deductible, which can be up to $545. This year, depending on your plan, the important thing to know is that January is when all of this resets, so that first doctor visit or prescription fill in the new year might cost more than you expect. But don't panic, that doesn't mean something's wrong. It just means you're back at the start of your yearly cup. The trick is to plan for it. I knew a gentleman named Harold who always scheduled his physical therapy sessions for February. But one year, he started in January, thinking it would be covered like before. Instead, he was hit with several out-of-pocket bills because his deductible hadn't been met yet. After that, he started every January by calling his plan and asking, "Where's my deductible now?" It saved him a lot of guesswork. Some Medicare Advantage plans also come with an out-of-pocket maximum. This is the most you'd have to pay in a year before your plan covers 100% of approved costs. Knowing that number can give you peace of mind, especially if you're managing a chronic condition. If this all feels like a lot to remember, just jot down 2 numbers every January, your Part B deductible and your Part D deductible. Keep it somewhere easy to find, and if you've got a Medicare Advantage plan, ask them what your total out-of-pocket max is. That way, you'll know what to expect if you have a health event or a sudden increase in care. The more you know about these numbers now, the better you can pace your care, plan your spending, and avoid any mid-year sticker shock. Number 4, schedule preventive services. While they're fully covered now here, something a lot of folks don't take full advantage of: your free preventive services. Yes, you heard that right. Free. Medicare covers a whole list of screenings, wellness visits, and tests at no cost to you, and January is the perfect time to get those on the calendar. I know scheduling doctor's appointments isn't exactly the most exciting way to start the year, but think of it this way: a simple checkup now could save you from a costly health scare later. And since Medicare resets everything each January, this is your fresh opportunity to take full advantage of those benefits. One of the most important ones is your yearly wellness visit. It's not a full physical exam, but it is your chance to talk to your doctor about what's changed, update your prescriptions, Discuss screenings you might need and catch issues early. It's fully covered by Medicare once every 12 months. Other fully covered preventive services include mammograms, colorectal cancer screenings, bone density tests, flu shots, and diabetes screenings, just to name a few. And here's the thing, if you catch something early through these services, you're far more likely to avoid bigger problems, bigger treatments, and much bigger bills later on. My friend Denise had skipped her annual mammogram for 2 years during the pandemic, but last January, her doctor reminded her it was covered and she went. They found something early because it was caught in time. The treatment was short and fully successful. She says that one free screening saved her more than her health. It saved her from months of stress and costs. Now here's the pro tip. Call your doctor's office early in the year. Schedules are usually more open in January and February, and once it's on the calendar, it's done. You won't be scrambling at the end of the year when everyone's trying to squeeze in appointments, so pull out your calendar. Think about what you haven't done in a while and give your doctor's office a call. These are benefits you've already earned. Medicare is offering them for a reason, and taking them seriously now could give you peace of mind all year long. Number 5, organize your Medicare records and track EOB's explanation of benefits. Let's wrap up with something simple but powerful: getting your Medicare paperwork organized now. While the year is fresh and clean, it may not sound exciting, but trust me, it can save you hours of stress later on. Because when a confusing bill arrives in July or something doesn't look right on your statement, having your records in order turns a headache into an easy fix. Every time you use your Medicare benefits, whether it's a doctor visit, a lab test, or a prescription, your plan sends you an explanation of benefits, or EOB. This isn't a bill, it's a record of what was charged, what Medicare covered, and what you may owe. But if you're not keeping track of these, it's easy to miss errors, double charges, or missed payments. I remember Joe, an old friend from my card group, who had all his Medicare mail stuffed in a shoebox under his bed. When he got a bill for a service he didn't recognize, he had no way to double check it. It took him weeks of phone calls to sort it out. After that, he started keeping a simple folder, one for each month. He said it was like having a flashlight in the dark. So here's a practical step. Create a folder, physical or digital, whatever suits you. Label it by month or by service type. Keep your EOBs, bills, receipts, and any notes from doctor visits. If you have online access to Medicare, Gov, or your plan's portal, even better, you can track claims in real time and download records if you ever need them. Also, consider keeping a running list of your medications and treatments in the same spot. That way, if something ever changes or if you need to switch plans in the fall, all your info is already gathered. Organizing now in January means you're starting the year strong. It's one of those quiet habits that pays off when you least expect it. Like when a bill doesn't look right and you can say, nope, I've got the paperwork right here. You've worked hard for your benefits. Keeping them organized means you're making the most of them, not just today, but every month that follows. So here we are, January, a new year, a clean slate, and for those of us on Medicare, it's also the month that sets the tone for everything that comes next. These 5 little steps we've talked about today, they aren't about being perfect or having everything figured out. They're about being prepared, about giving yourself peace of mind, so you're not caught off guard in March or April when that first unexpected bill shows up. Because here's the truth. Medicare is a great system, but it's not exactly simple. Things change quietly. Your prescriptions, your doctor network, even your deductibles, and if we're not watching closely, those small changes can snowball into real costs. But if you spend just a little time in January reviewing what's changed, confirming your meds are still covered, getting those free screenings on the calendar, and tidying up your paperwork, you're not just saving money, you're taking back control. Think about it. How many times have we said, if only I had known earlier? Well, January is earlier. It's your window to spot what others don't. To make a phone call now that prevents a problem 6 months from now. To feel confident that your plan still fits your life, not the other way around. And I want to say this loud and clear, it's not too late to get ahead. You don't need to do everything at once. Maybe today you call your pharmacy and ask about your prescriptions. Tomorrow, you set up a little folder for your Medicare paperwork. Next week, you schedule your free wellness visit. One small step at a time, that's all it takes. And if this video helped you feel even a little more confident or informed, I hope you'll give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Vibrant Elders. We're building a space here where smart, thoughtful folks like you can share stories, ask questions, and make the most of retirement together. Leave a comment too. I'd love to hear what your January step is going to be. You never know who else your experience might help. Retirement isn't about slowing down. It's about finally having the freedom to live smart, live steady, and live well. You've earned that, and these early in the year checkups? They're just one more way to make sure your Medicare is working for you, not the other way around. So take a deep breath, grab a notepad, make that first call. This is your year to feel steady, prepared, and maybe even a little proud of how on top of things you really are.